Since Peter Obi, former Anambra State governor, declared his intention to run for president in Nigeria, the peace-loving, soft-spoken gentleman has visited the 6 geopolitical zones of the country to canvass for support amid challenges of insecurity, inflation, and religious crisis, just to mention a few. The former presidential running mate to Alhaji Atiku Abubakar in the 2019 general election stated that he only needs 4 years to fix Nigeria. Obi said he will replace the sharing formula of monthly allocation with a production formula if elected. He further stated that Nigeria has been badly managed over the years and the country is collapsing. In a meeting in Kaduna State, Peter Obi promises to turn Nigeria into a producing nation that is less development on oil.
Peter Obi sat down for an interview with the Arise TV team, and he gave a lot of insight and wisdom as usual. We are going to look into the interview and analyze it. I love the introduction from Reuben. This shows you that everybody knows that Peter Obi is peace-loving and a perfect gentleman. It is interesting to note that Obi had always believed that he could make an impact within 4 years in office. So he didn't start this 4 years thing even in 2025. So let's get into the interview proper.
You just completed your tour of the 36 states of the nation, and it's believed that you're the first aspirant to do that in either APC or PDP. I want to know what informed that plan. Why did you decide to tour each state individually? How did the delegates receive you? And what were the problems that you observed around the country and how you intend to fix them?
Let me tell you why I decided to tour these states individually. And I was discussing this with somebody that's been close to me recently in terms of even supporting and helping me as I do this tour, Dr. Kube. And I said to him, listen, doctor, as governor, I visited every local government in Anambra State. I slept in them, even when it's a short distance of 1 hour from Oka. And I said to him, today, if I have opportunity of serving this country, before doing any visit outside this country, unless for an inevitable invitation, or somewhere that is, I must go for a meeting, I will first tour the 6 states of Nigeria. Stay there, discuss with the stakeholders on ways and means in which we can build a more cohesive, a peaceful, caring society. Look at ways in which we can bring the best of every state. It's critical. The same thing is what I did by going from one state to the other to largely be able to canvass and interact with the delegates from that state on why we cannot continue on the path we are today. But if I tell you, it's very difficult. I find so many things very worrisome. Very, very worrisome. One is that our politics remain very largely transactional. Two, which is very sad, most worrisome to me, is that what makes a country, one of the most important ingredients of being a nation is respect, trust people have for their currency. Currency is a measure of faith and trust of citizens in their nation. Currency is a measure of productivity. Currency is a measure of your economy. I find it very, very worrisome that government officials who are supposed to be protector of this particular item, a currency, have abandoned the currency and are now spending dollars. I find it worrisome that while our manufacturers Business people cannot find dollars for critical inputs into manufacturing, critical import of spares and everything. The dollar is scarce. But the politicians found money to share. No country of the world will this happen. And this is being shared by people who have no legitimate means of earning dollar ever in their life. So it's a different thing if somebody comes and says, oh, Peter, I invested money in this and I earned $500,000. That's what I'm sharing. But that Reuben, whom I know, had not earned any dollars in the past 5 years, is sharing dollars openly. And nobody is questioning that. One, you diminish your currency, you ruin your economy, and everything.
When Obi said he will travel to every state of the country as president, it makes sense because this will give him opportunity to engage with the people and understand what they are actually going through and what they need. We have leaders who don't even know what each region of the country needs, and they would be governing from Abuja. What Sokoto needs, for instance, may be completely different from what Bayelsa needs. And this is also what Peter Obi did when he was governor of Anambra State. The issue of transactional politics is still our problem today. Buying of party delegates is one of the biggest issues in our politics. It is unbelievable that government officials are sharing and spending dollars instead of naira, and you wonder why naira doesn't have value anymore. How can government officials who are supposed to be the ones protecting naira being the ones that are abusing the currency? How can you be spending another man's currency in Nigeria as a government official? It doesn't make sense.
I was in Morocco just within the past 3 weeks. I bought travel allowance from Nigeria and I went to Morocco. Met people and I said, they told me that this dollar, I have to cash it through using my credit card. So I said, where's dollar credit? Where is dollar credit? This points where I can cash my dollar. I was shocked. And they told me, not in Morocco. And I have to change that money in their currency if I want to. And that's in every country. And when I spoke to the government official, I said, why would you have a place that can cash dollar? He said, not in Morocco. In Morocco, you spend our currency. So you must change that dollar in our currency. In Nigeria, government officials and everybody is changing our own currency into dollar. And this is dollar we cannot give to manufacturers. Again, if following up to that is that why we cannot pay gratuity, pensions, of people who have worked hard in this country, why we're owing workers, owing lecturers, where our young ones are not in school, owing teachers in various states of Nigeria, politicians have huge amount of money to share. So there's a disconnect between the entire thing. As more as I travel and talk, the more I get more worried. And I look at myself, I've been a governor. I went for second tenure. I went for election through a time I was in office. I can't remember calling people to share the money. Whenever I invite them, I show them, this is what I'm doing, and this is where I saved your money. The one that is remaining. I've done this road, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. This is where the remaining is. But that today, people are sharing, you're owing teachers, kids are not in school, the kids don't have this and that, and you're sharing money. It is absolutely worrisome. That's my observation. But in any case, I'll continue to go on hoping that somewhere we'll be able to get this issue dealt with. We can't continue this way. No nation can continue this way, where you get up in the morning and you're sharing people money for no productivity. And the money you're sharing, everybody is aware that a few years ago, Peter Peter Obi, Reuben about who is sharing money today, have no legitimate means, no office of any such money. So that money, we know where it came from. And nobody's screaming. Nobody's shouting.
Morocco is doing it exactly the way it should be done. It is quite sad that other African countries are teaching our government officials real patriotism. It is funny that our government will always want the citizens to be patriotic while they themselves live anyhow. Obi states it again, the issue of our country is bad leadership. Leaders who lack empathy, leaders who are about themselves and not the people. That is why they will be having dollars which are even public funds to share, but ordinary citizens are suffering and they don't even care.
It's just a debacle with Nigeria as everything, we monetize politics and monetize everything. I want to pick your brains. You constantly talk about moving Nigeria from a sharing to a producing nation. I'd like you to clarify that your position. And how do we intend to achieve this? I mean, you talked about the textile industry, for instance, in that video. You talked about the fact that we can make money from textile than we make from crude oil. I mean, how do we do this? How does Nigeria truly make wealth? Because Nigeria is a poor country as we speak today. Very poor.
Nigeria is not a poor country. The leadership of Nigeria is poor. You have to remove Nigeria is a very rich country, blessed by God, with good weather, with good everything. Nigeria is not poor. What is poor is leadership. When you have poor leadership, you cripple everything. You make everybody poor. Because your thinking is poor, your business is poor. You can remove Nigeria from being a consuming, sharing country to productive country. She just mentioned about my tour. Whenever state I reach, as a land, I look at the agricultural aid, the land, the massive land God gave Nigeria. I look at the people God gave Nigeria.
Exactly. Nigeria is not a poor country. Our leadership is poor. Perfectly said by Obi. Our leaders can't think beyond oil revenue, which is very sad. Obi explained exactly how to turn our country into a production hub. He mentioned two critical factors of production, which are land and human capital. And if we invest in and utilize these two, then our country will be very wealthy.
So if you say you want to do all this without fixing power, for instance, other structural problems, how do you get it done?
That's what I'm telling you. Fixing power is not rocket science. Let people not talk about this thing. You see, we got it wrong from the first privatization and other things and everything. Well, because you must have a commitment that you're going to do this right. What happens in this Nigeria is that, okay, we want to privatize power. We do not look at the study from beginning to end and know how this is going to. What are we talking about power? Between 2015 and today, Egypt had doubled its power production from 26,000 to 55,000. Egypt, I mean, if we don't want, I as a president, we'll go there and sit there and say, how did you do this? It's not from the moon. Today, you are the giant of Africa. You're generating 4,000 megawatts, which is what we've generated since I was born. The second biggest economy, South Africa, is doing about 50,000 with 60 million people. The third biggest economy, which is Egypt, is doing 55,000 with 100 million people. Let me tell you, if we want power to change, it will change.
In solving power problem, Obi again explains the major solution, which is commitment. Many of the issues we have is lack of commitment by our political leaders. They pay lip service to many of the issues we have in Nigeria, but they lack commitment in solving any of them. It is commitment that will make you invest in it. The same commitment will make you ensure proper utilization of the funds you invested in it. So it is about commitment indeed.
So all this about productivity and making Nigeria competitive, I guess we can't do it without strong human capital.
Completely.
With capacity.
Yes.
And only the other day, the chief of the field office of UNICEF in Kano was saying that the number of out-of-school children in Nigeria is now about 18.5 million. Out of that figure, the same figure that used to be 10.5, at one point we were told it was 13 million. Out of that 18.5 million, 60% are girls, the girl child. And these 60%, most of them are in one part of the country, the northern part of the country. Now, how do you intend to tackle this issue of education in the country to ensure that we have a competitive, group that can take Nigeria forward and ensure this productivity that we've been talking about?
I was a governor. When I came in, we had a problem in Anambra State. Our problem was that the boys were not going to school because they wanted to go and trade. They didn't see any value in education. So we had 80% girls in school, 20% boys. When I came in, nobody wanted to talk about education. Of course, we are lagging. We're number 26, 27. I even saw Governor Makinde the other day in one of his achievements. He said he has moved Oyo from 26 to number 11. Because I remember very well, that time, Anambra used to be 26, Oyo used to be this. And I said to myself, it can't be. We can change this. We will invest in education. But what we did was simple. We put in the resources direct to the school. And it worked. We moved from 26 number 1, 2011, 2012, 2013. Today we have the highest cutoff point.
It is very sad because what Obi said that happened to him in Anambra when he became governor is the same thing that is happening in Nigeria today. Nobody wants to talk about education, and this explains why our education is in the way it is. Obi explained how he solved education problem in Anambra, which he has also said he will apply in the federal when he becomes the president. Education is capital intensive and requires a lot of funds. If as a country you don't fund your education, you will not expect good education. So the first step is fund education. The second thing is also to fund it directly to avoid embezzlement, and then you monitor. This was the strategy Obi applied in Anambra, and then which made Anambra to become number 1 in education. So we have seen results in Anambra, and he's saying he will apply the same method in Anambra at the federal level.
The fact that corruption has become institutional, almost no ministry or MDA is removed from corruption. We're talking about this morning the story of the Accountant General of the Federation. And shocking enough, the last Accountant General of the Federation too had corruption allegations. So in a country where the two back-to-back Accountant Generals of the Federation have had corruption allegations, it's an indication that the country, like I said this morning, is already building a bacterial culture of corruption. What would you do to tackle institutional corruption across MDAs and across every strata of government and governance? That same corruption that makes people that have not done anything in 5 years be spending dollar like they are spending naira.
My brother, let me tell you, and what I'm going to say will not be different from what I said in the past. First is that corruption kills three things the country needs to succeed. Corruption kills entrepreneurship. Nobody thinks in a corrupt country. You don't build all small businesses and everything. Corruption kills professionalism. You can't get professors doing research when councillors earn more money. Like I keep saying, you see a place where a House of Assembly member is dashing away cars that lecturers can buy. And they say it's doing well. He's supposed to be a lawmaker, but he's dashing away cars. And he says he's doing well. You have a situation where, corruption kills hard work. Corruption is very simple. You can stop it.
How?
If the principal person, I said it before, is not involved, his family is not involved, his friends, he can contain his friends not to be involved.
Peter Obi's solution to corruption is a masterclass. This is the perfect solution. Once you are not involved, you make sure your family members and friends are not involved, then you solve it by half. This will now give you the leverage to block every other avenue for corruption. This means that the major problem is that many of the leaders themselves are involved, and you see why corruption is persisting in Nigeria. Obi has demonstrated that he has what it takes to solve Nigeria's problems. Let us support him and give him a chance come 2027. Thanks for your time, and may God bless you.